There's a new me coming out, and I just have to live, and I wanna give. I'm completely positive. I think this time around I am gonna do it like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. The time has come for me to break out of the shell.
Welcome to the show Never Too Late Ever, where we focus on making your chapter, I said your chapter, the next best thing ever. I am your host, Lorraine Hoving from It's All About Time. And I am so excited to be here with my guest from last week, Mickey Bell. And I want you to open your ears, open your heart, and listen. I have found in life, when I find a little gem and I polish that gem, it becomes a treasure. And I want you to open your ears, because Mickey is a powerful speaker. And he has been through pain. He has been through pain, and he has gotten on the other side so that he can help you listen and find that gem too. So welcome, Mickey. We're glad to have you back again.
Lorraine, thank you so much. And with an introduction like that, I want you to travel around with me everywhere and introduce me to all my new friends.
Hey, I would love to. I'm hoping we get to meet someday. That would be, wouldn't we have fun together?
We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen.
Okay, let me tell you a little bit about Mickey if you weren't here last week. And if you weren't, you're going to want to go back and listen to it. Comedian Mickey Bell is quickly becoming one of the most sought-after entertainers. His quick wit and his ability to entertain crowds of all ages has him performing on stages all across America. His shows are high energy, as you can tell, and more than just corny church jokes. I heard those all
yes.
from
Don't
my
you
brother.
Just hate those? Oh my goodness.
Comedian Mickey shares funny stories from his life experiences. From an early age, Mickey has always been the one to stand out in the crowd, not because of his awesome size, but his ability to lighten up any mood or situation. He is no stranger to the stage since he started standing in front of people since the age of 10. Mickey proves that you don't have to use vulgar language to get people to laugh. You simply have to look around within the church or around the world or in politics to find plenty of comedic material. Welcome, Mickey.
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you so much. It is so good to be here. And when you say the part about my awesome size, I have to kind of clear that up a little bit, because I'm a very short person.
I was going to ask you. I've seen your picture, and your face is, very handsome and big. But you're a short person.
I am a short person. Now that doesn't. Now I'm not like short person in the term. I'm 5'6", so I'm under 6 foot tall. But what makes it worse is that my little brother. If you heard the podcast from last week, then you know why he's not my real brother. But my little brother. My younger brother is like 6'7".
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He's a giant. And so I got all those jokes growing up on, your brother pushed you away from the table, and oh my goodness, how does it feel to have a brother that's so tall that can play basketball? And I was just like, shut up. I don't want to hear it.
So last week we realized you shared the story about you were sat down, your parents sat you down and told you at the age of 13 that you were adopted. Had you ever wondered before then, especially speaking about your brother being so different than you, had you even had the thing ever crossed your mind?
Lorraine, you have a wonderful memory from last week's show. Yes, I did. And the reason I did was because I was one of 5 children. And I was the one that was adopted, and I was the only one that was dark-headed while everyone else, they were blonde-headed. And they were all tall, and I was short. Now, when it came across my mind, you know what? My mom and dad really played a trick on me, and I tell them this all the time, because when I say I was adopted at birth, I mean, there are pictures of my mom and dad holding me, the ones that adopted me, holding me in the hospital. So there was no evidence.
Right.
There was no proof to kind of, because I could always go back and go, oh, yeah, they held me in the hospital, so there they are, you know? So
Yeah.
I never had actual any proof of any other thing. Now kids would always kid me all the time when they'd see me, because they'd say, oh, my goodness, are you adopted? And, of course, I would say no, because I didn't think I was.
Right.
But
right.
then I found out at 13 that I was, and that explained a lot.
And did you resent your adopted parents for not telling you earlier, or?
I didn't. You know what? I think the love that they had shown me, and the loving home that they had raised me in. Lorraine, just to be totally honest with you, I was more concerned about them in that moment than I was me.
Wow.
I was more concerned because I thought, wow, that took a lot for them to tell me. It took a lot for them to do what they did. And I was more concerned about hurting them. I didn't want to say or do anything that would bring pain to them because of this situation, because it wasn't their fault.
Right.
And so in that moment, I was more concerned about them.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful for a boy that's only 13 years old. And that is probably evidence of their love towards you, because you didn't want to hurt them. Yeah. And I think, you and I are similar in that I love everything to be happy. I was looking into my personality the other day on the Enneagram, and it was talking about my personality, and it's called an enthusiast. And we love it when people are happy, but pain is very difficult for us. And that I almost avoid pain with a plague. I will run from it because I want everything to be happy. You know.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So
and you know, as a comedian, that is exactly what we do. Because especially those comedians, and I'll tell you what to watch out for. When you hear a comedian that is really bashing themselves, that's really kind of poking fun at themselves, whether it be their weight, their height, or an addiction, then you can rest assured that is a painful spot in their life. And they had much rather go ahead and bring it out in the open and let everybody laugh about it, so they don't have to cry because someone's making fun of them about it. Right. So if you ever see that, that will kind of let you know what they have issue with. And for me, my issue was people walking out of my life, because that's what my parents did when I was born. So I have had that issue all of my life. And so there may be times that I will make comments about friendships and relationships and always having a backup plan.
Right. And you explained a lot of that last week, which was very informative, and you went through your transformation, you know, and I would suggest with the audience, if you haven't heard it, he was in a depression for a year, could barely get out of bed. And because of the love of his wife and the belief that there was potential, and she saw it, you were on the road to recovery. Now, this week you're calling it rerouting your passions. So what do you mean about rerouting them?
Well, you know, from last week, when we jump off of that story about the fact that I had to make some decisions in my life, and one of the main decisions was the fact, am I going to live? And when I decided that I was going to live, and when God put a passion, I never had a passion of going around and helping people with depression. I never had a passion of going around and talking to people about their mistakes and bouncing back from their mistakes. But I am in the process now of rerouting. And when I say rerouting, it's the fact that now all I want to do is help people because of where I've been. So I want to encourage your listeners to know that the reason that you go through what you go through is not just for you, but it's also for the people that you're going to be able to bring out with you. So as I'm coming out of what I have been going through, I am constantly turning and looking over my shoulder to see whose hand I could grab and bring them out as well. So when I reroute what I'm doing, I never planned for this to be the course of my life, but it's okay to reroute because now I found my passion.
Right, right. That's really cool. So now you speak in front of large audiences. Like, give us an example of where you speak and what your schedule's like. I'm curious about that.
You know, it varies. I am doing anything from concert events where I will be the opening act to kind of get people settled in. So I kind of convince you to go ahead and go to the restroom before the artist comes on stage. So I'm that person. And then I speak at a lot of events that deals with children and adoption and those sort of things where they will bring me in and speak to those banquets. And I do a lot of church events. They bring me in because I pick a lot on the church. So there's just a lot of events like that we just go around and do, and we just have a lot of fun. Of course, right now it's been put on hold. I haven't worked since the last of February, and so we're hoping that that'll be kicking back in here before too long. But yeah, I miss getting out there and telling people, you know, my story and helping them bounce back and reroute things in their life for the better.
Right. And I miss that too, because I've done a lot of speaking online, but I miss seeing the eyeballs, the vibration from people that you feel. And with you being a people person like me, it's like it's our fuel. So so I totally understand that. And what I think was interesting what you said is that I think God can use any bit of your story, and you need to own your story. But what I like is that you now work with you go to organizations that are talking about adoption or whatever. That very story that you found out when you were 13 is now being used to help others.
Most definitely. I encourage families to let them know how much impact they can make in a child's life, and how having a loving home and just being open and honest with them about it, that it's okay. But also speaking to those children, speaking to those teenagers to let them know you're not a misfit just because you're adopted. Actually, God loved you enough to take you out of a situation that wasn't going to be good for you and place you in a place to where you could grow and you can thrive. And so I'm constantly pouring into those individuals to let them know that you have a lot of people working for you instead of against you. And don't let a stigma that can be put on you by the world, because maybe you just didn't go the normal route. Now, these days, we don't even know what normal is. So I just encourage them, you know, just know that your life may be rerouted in how it started, but it was all for your good.
Yeah, beautiful. That's a good way of describing rerouting. That's beautiful. Now, in your bio, you talk about, which I appreciate this, you don't use vulgar language. Now, do you belong to a church, or is that why your background is that why you don't use vulgar language and swearing in your comedy?
Most definitely. My upbringing in the church, my fellowship, and my relationship with Jesus Christ prevents me from being able to cuss and being able to use that vulgar language. But now on the other side of that, think about who my audience is. I am trying to encourage teenagers. I am trying to encourage children. I'm trying to encourage parents. I am trying to give them a nugget. I'm trying to give them a gem, as you call it. I'm trying to give them something worth living. And so I never want to talk down to that. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think cuss words while I'm performing when people are being loud and people are not laughing. But no, I just don't think that you have to do that, because the moment you start doing that, then you have to start putting an age limit on your performance. And I want people to be able to bring me in and feel comfortable knowing that it's safe for it to be a family-friendly event and not be on eggshells wondering if I'm going to let something slip or if I'm going to say something that's going to cause people to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and you know, I appreciate that because that's exactly what happens when you know somebody has a vulgar language, then you're on eggshells just waiting for it. And a lot of those words have become so accustomed that it's just, you know, it's